probably would have gave this to Sway, but fuck it, we at the crib with it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sailboat.Sneakers back at you. Quick video for you today. The inspiration behind this video, a little bit of tie-dye. We're also paying a little bit of homage to Marlon Craft and his OUR.S initiative. The link will be in the bio. Take a look into what I did during the OUR.S work week, starring Brint Benson as he ran us through some live IG tutorials of how to tie-dye. Decided to do a little bit of a spur of the moment video. My boy Marlon Craft, a hip hop artist out of Hell's Kitchen, NYC, has this kind of cooperative, this group called OUR.S, OUR.S. Basically just a collective to do good within the United States. They started in New York City and are kind of expanding out a little bit more nationwide now. I highly recommend that you check it out. They're in the middle of what is called work week right now. At any rate, what they got going on right now, it's this live Instagram with Brint Benson. Hear him in the background a little bit. I got him going on the speaker. Basically, Brint is doing a tie-dye tutorial right now. He is a crazy good tie-dye artist, and he is going to be teaching us how to go ahead and do some of this tie-dye. I practiced a little bit of tie-dye over the last weekend, and what I figured I could do is go ahead and tie-dye my OUR.S hoodie that Marlon Craft and his manager Kenny gave to me last time I had linked up with them when I was in New York City. I'm going to show you guys the hoodie real quick, then I'm just going to do a time lapse of everything as I go through the entire process, as I'm kind of watching the tie-dye master, Brint Benson, take us through and show us how to do it. So I got Brint giving the tutorial right here on the side. What I'm doing is showing you guys this OUR.S hoodie that I'm about to dye. So obviously you can tell it's a little bit of like a salmon pink color. What I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to be dyeing this with purple and blue and a little bit of green. You can see the OUR.S logo on the front of the hoodie. MC for my man Marlon. Let's wrap this up. I'll show you a time lapse of me getting to the wrapping. So one of the most infamous sayings with tie-dye is that you can never do a tie-dye wrong. Whatever happens, happens. For this specific tie-dye, I wanted to do a spiral pattern. So I took the sweatshirt and I kind of twirled it up, pinching at the middle of the OUR.S logo, trying to swirl it in on itself. Once I got it to a point where it was tight enough, I rubber banded it up so that I had clear sections to work with when I was applying my dye. Alright guys, as you can see, it was a little bit of an effort to get that all into the spiral pattern that I'm looking for. Basically, you just pinch at the middle, twist, keep it nice and flat, and put some rubber bands around it. This is what the hoodie looks like. This is the back side. This is the side that was on the table. This is the front side, the side that was facing me. It's important to try and get it as tight as you possibly can, if that's the kind of pattern that you want, but if you want looser spirals, obviously you spiral it up a little bit looser, and you're gonna see thicker stripes of each color that you use. At this point in time, I want to get some dye on there. So you guys can see I got my outdoor setup already here. Got 4 colors left over from the weekend. When you're using colors that are left over, the dye intensity will be less. I wanted to save and use all of the dye that I had, so let it sit for a couple of days. Probably won't come out quite as vibrant as some of the other stuff that I've done. However, that's kind of what I was looking for, because I'm using a pink hoodie and it's going to be a little bit different anyway. Make sure you're covering the surface that you're working with some sort of plastic covering so that the dye will not seep into anything, because it's very strong. If you get this dye on a carpet or some sort of floor that's absorbent, you are shit out of luck, my friends. What I'm gonna do is take each section and I'm gonna dye it a different color. Yeah, I got 4 different colors right here. I'm gonna flip it up a little bit, do a little time lapse, and you'll see me as I go through and get So at this point in time, I started to apply my different dyes. I had 4 different dyes that I was working with, figuring that adding anything yellow or anything red to this pink hoodie might throw the colors off a little bit. I wanted to work primarily with the purple and blue and green spectrum. Once I got to the back side of the hoodie, unfortunately I ran out of dye, so I decided to fill up the bottles
with some water to try and get the excess dye in the bottles and try and dilute some of the dye that was already soaked into the hoodie. It worked out alright, but I ended up throwing more dye on at the end of the process just to make sure that both sides were even.
It's got to be prepped for another 48 hours or so. It's just going to sit there and let the colors and dyes soak into the actual material. So I'll show you guys the front and the back side after we get into the bathroom where we're going to have it set up. So you can see I got the front side right here and the back side where I kind of ran out of colors, so you can see a couple that look a little bit more gray, which is unfortunate, but not a big deal. We'll see what this looks like in 48 hours after we get it all rinsed off. Hey, we're back, everybody. 48 hours after we did the initial tie-dye with Brint Benson from Marlon Craft and OUR.S work week. As you can tell, I'm in the shower right now. Unfortunately for you, I am not stripping down and actually showering. I did want to reveal what happened with the hoodie that I tie-dyed during Brint Benson's educational session on Instagram Live. The grand reveal. Woo-hoo! What's good? Not too shabby. I gotta rinse this sucker out real quick. Alright, so I've rinsed off the hoodie. Took me a few minutes to get it done. All the dye is out of there now. Let's lay it out. So here is the Marlon Craft OUR.S hoodie that I tie-dyed with Brint Benson during his educational tie-dye session during work week. Came out pretty good if you ask me. I like the colors a lot. It's pretty much what I was aiming for. You can see that everything is a little bit more washed out after having rinsed it, but it looks pretty good. What I gotta do now is throw this bad boy in the wash. This is gonna go on the hottest cycle possible to set the colors in place. And then we will put it on a light tumble dry cycle, and it will be ready to wear this afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of it. As you can see, I got my hoodie on. It feels nice. Show you guys real quick. Not too shabby. I think I hit that color balance right where I wanted to. There's a little bit less pink from the original hoodie coloring than I was hoping for, but still, it looks pretty fucking good if you ask me. Big shout out to Brint Benson. Crazy good tutorial, man. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Work Week, OUR.S, Marlon Craft, my boy Kenny. Appreciate you all. It's your boy Sailboat, and I'm out of here. I've been trying to find some peace for the longest time. Yeah. I just need a little release. I've been on my grind, and I think it's high time. Had to get real low just to get this. Had to get real low just to get this.